Okay, it's Sunday night, January 4th. In the last video, I filmed this trade, this long here, with the exit, and then building a short from right here, saying that I wanted to hold until this low was broken. Okay, well, we broke that low this evening. Actually, on Friday, after the close, we came down and made a double bottom to the tick right there, but I wasn't able to get out because I was expecting to actually go below this low. So I had to hold over the weekend, and then we gapped down on Sunday night, and we've been heading lower ever since. Now the problem is I got out a little bit early, and I want to show why, and then show why this could be a very important low here if we're not making a temporary low, meaning for a couple of weeks maybe. If we're not making that this evening or tomorrow morning, then we probably will over the next couple of days. Just starting with the weekly chart, you can see we are getting down to an important area where we have overlap of several fibs right around 51 to basically between 50 and 51. So we're getting pretty close right now. And of course the rate of change is now diverging pretty drastically. So we are slowing down, and that's a 4-week rate of change. And then on the daily chart, obviously we're going a lot less steeply than we were. It's pretty obvious, so therefore the rate of change, of course, is diverging. It would be nice to see one big massive down bar straight down to the bottom of this channel with a massive bar of volume, massive volume bar. Maybe that will happen tomorrow, and we'll rush down below 50 and then rush right back above it, and then probably make some kind of a just a wide range, you know, who knows what, over the next couple of months. But I was kind of expecting more of a climax for the low here, but really my minimum requirement for looking to even begin looking for a low would have been this diamond on the 240-minute chart, which we have now. So we've put that in, and it's not really at the most beautiful spot, but nonetheless we have a massive amount of relative volume for the time of day and the day of the week. Of course, it's Sunday night after 9 p.m., so it's 11 o'clock Eastern time right now. But the close of this bar was very high relative volume, but still not very high normal volume. Let's look at that actually. Yeah, of course. See, this is total number of contracts here. Not quite 15,000. For that 4-hour period. So not the kind of low you would like to see. I've got a feeling we're going to break down Monday, tomorrow morning, and come on down below 50. If not all in one day tomorrow, then probably over the next couple of days, and then put in that major low that we need on a climactic kind of a move down, from which we'll, you know, be able to slide right back up really quickly with a short covering rally. So let's go over the exit that I took here. This is the 30-minute chart, and I got out right in here because we had this massive amount of relative volume and relative density come in, where we have just gradually more and more relative density and relative volume until we get this climax churn bar after we've broken this low. So remember, my exit, I shorted from up here, my exit was to be not until we broke below this low. So that low is right there, and then I exited right here. Okay, I got out a little bit early out of the first one, right, I don't have have the trades showing there. Where are they? Right here. So I got out a little bit early right there. Essentially when it came back down to test this bar right here. And then we had 1, 2, 3 churn bars back to back. And I said, you know what, I don't want to suffer through a pullback if it's going to try to pull back to the top of the channel again. If it does, then I'll short and try to ride it back down to the bottom of the channel. But, you know, I ended up getting out just before the big rush down to the bottom of the channel. So this is where I would have loved to have exited. And of course I would have exited right when we touched the bottom of this channel on this massive climax bar with over 900% relative volume. But like I said, I got out a little bit early. But nonetheless, a great trade, a great way to start the new year. Excellent day Friday, and then holding into this swing trade. So now we're trying to push our way back up. Really have no idea. Maybe it'll come back to right here, and then who knows, push a little bit lower. I'm not going to try to figure that out right now. Just gonna wait and see what happens on Monday. We'll probably get that climax down. I don't think I'm going to try to short unless it sets up really beautifully tomorrow. I may just wait and see if we can get that low put in, and then try to play the short covering rally, because the short covering rally is going to be really fast and move really far. So the risk is probably going to be pretty huge on that, but I'm sure it will be worth it. And just to show you real quick just how this works, even on the 1 minute chart, right when it opens and it gaps down, if you were shorting from right here, because you see it gap down, it comes back into the area, closes off the high, closes off the high, and then it goes a little bit sideways and then pulls back into that area with a climax bar closing off of the high below the midpoint of the bar, right on yesterday's close. If you shorted that bar, where would your target be? Well, connect from high to high and then down to the low, and then look at that, right down to the bottom of the channel, yesterday's low, with an extreme relative volume marked by that diamond, and then a churn bar out of the relative density, which is almost above the third standard deviation band, but very high nonetheless. So that would have been your perfect little exit if you were, you know, trying to take a little short day trade. And then you've got a high right here, which was tested right here. You've got a low right here, which was tested on the subsequent bars. You've got another low put in right here, which was tested here. You could have traded. And then at this point, you traded back to the downtrend channel. So if we're looking at from high here to the high right here, I'm sorry, the high right here. This is the one we're looking at. Let me just change the color. So from the high right here, which is where I shorted, to the high right here before the close on Friday. And then that's where we pulled back to right here. So once you saw that climax bar going into the top of this channel, and then it closes just a little bit off the high, it's a beautiful short right there. And of course we have bearish divergence out of the stochastics on that bar right there, because we just barely had well, it's a double top actually, so I'm allowing double tops out of this divergence, and I'm using the high rather than the closing price because I'm using the stochastics, which is actually built from the high, low, and the close. So then it comes down, we get an extreme relative volume right here. We're tested on the second bar with a churn bar closing up off the lows, doesn't get very far, and then we get a high relative volume condition here marked by that dot, and then it rolls back down. Then we get a climax here, which is extreme relative volume, and then we come back and test it right here, which is right at support 1 on the floor trader pivots with 2 weak churn bars back to back. So when I saw that next bar turn up, that's where I got out of the first contract, and then waited for it to break below that low, and it did. We get the little climax bar there, climax churn bar, which you know pretty much always see either a climax or a climax churn after you break a prior pivot. Then we pulled back to that area and then came down, and then I got just kind of scared out right here like an idiot, and then of course it rushes right down to the target, which was the bottom of the channel, and that's that. So I just figured I would show this to kind of do a wrap up to that trade that I had taken on Friday, but also to show that we are in the process of putting in a low here. This looked like it could have been possibly a decent low, except for the fact that it's not a climax. When you have such a massive downturn like this, a massive downtrend, you want to see that end on climactic action, and we really haven't had that. So when it gaps down tomorrow, if it does, I mean, it's looking like it will. When it gaps lower, right now we're at what, 51.72. So really anything could happen between now and the open, but let's say it gaps below 52, then we should see that climax down and maybe get an island reversal where we gap down into the low and then gap up out of that low. That would be picture perfect. So we'll see what happens, but looking like possibly a very fast move coming up on Monday, maybe into Tuesday.